Hi there, it's Leslie Christin, and today we are going to talk about how to take a good before and after picture. So this is Kim Jefcoat. Her business is Grace with Fire Photography, and she's my fabulous guest. We actually just finished doing a photo shoot, headshot with one of our clients here at Studio CARA, and so we are going to kind of talk about how you as a makeup artist can take some good before and after pictures of your clients after you've done makeup, and and not make the pictures look distorted. That's a lot of times what I see. Kind of show you some little tricks, because it's going to be important, especially if you're a newer makeup artist and you don't you don't have any work yet that's professional, like professional images with a photographer. It's still really important that you start to showcase your work. Right. So Kim's going to kind of teach us a few things about that. Yeah. And so you actually, here in the studio, we've got some pretty nice light.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's pretty bright. I actually made sure I painted everything kind of like an off-white, so you could get a lot of, this is called bounce light. So anytime it bounces off of different walls, that's always going to be a little kinder.
Yes.
Make you look a little younger.
Right.
Fresher. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. So some of the things that I like to talk about as far as documenting your work, which I think is super important, whether you're a makeup artist or even for me as a photographer, I tend to do a lot of behind the scenes of my own work, doing time lapses or just taking a video of just showing people what it is that I'm working on. A lot of times you don't have someone else to be there to help you document the behind the scenes. So a lot of times you have to be that person. So if you're a makeup artist and you're trying to gain a following, or you just want people to see what kind of work that you're putting out there, I definitely recommend before and afters.
Yes.
And just knowing what kind of light is going to be the most flattering is super helpful. In a room like this where you have this huge window, I would absolutely recommend having your client stand facing the window, which would mean that your back would be to the window, and making sure that you get a really nice before photo. The tendency in what we were talking about with previously is that, if you have your camera and you're on your phone and you want to get a before, is you don't necessarily want to get super close to someone's face, even though you are trying to show some details. Having a bit of a separation between you and the client is good, because you can always, in post, you can go back and use one image, but you could actually crop in on it in several different ways. So I like to have, and I can show you. So like if Leslie, if I was doing her before, I would have my back to the window, and I would have her come as close to the light as possible, because the closer that you are to a light source, the softer the light is going to be. And I tend to like to do something more at eye level, maybe something a little slightly above, but you don't want to get too high up.
You see a lot of that.
Yeah, you don't need to do too high up. It's somewhere at eye level, maybe something slightly raised, and then let's say that you're in a room that had absolutely no natural light, and I know most makeup artists have a ring light, so I would definitely make sure to utilize a ring light. And I can
we'll show you what I think everyone in the world now, because of Instagram, knows what a ring light looks like. But ring lights are really handy, and they're not too expensive either. You need some help there, Kim?
I think I got it.
Okay. Let's see. Photographers get very used to being very crafty, and
yeah, we're kind of like little MacGyvers. So this is your, most, I would say, makeup artists and photographers have ring lights. And like Leslie, you're saying, they're not super expensive. So definitely something that you
$100
can pick
or
up.
so.
And I mean, this will do wonders for any sort of photography that you're going to be doing on your clients. And of course, it helps you just to, lighting is so important with makeup, but also in photography. They really go hand in hand because you have to see what it is that you're doing.
Yes.
And as we all know, a lot of times when you're doing makeup, you might be in a super small space. So just realizing that with a ring light, it does have this opening in the middle. And the idea is that you would be shooting, you know, with your phone through the center of the ring, just so that you're basically you're making your space like super economical as far as just how much space that you're taking up.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't go like too high power on, most of the time these ring lights are adjustable, you know, maybe somewhere in the middle as far as an adjustment for how bright your light is going to be. And yeah, I would say the most important things are going to be your lighting. So either you're going to be using natural light that's coming in through a window whenever possible, having your subject facing the window, or if you don't have that liberty, then using your ring light to make sure that you have beautiful lighting, keeping somewhat of a distance, you know, between you and your subject, because knowing in post, you can always go in and just crop in on the images if you want to, you know, maybe crop in on the eyes to show your work. And then it's, you know, just playing with angles is important too. And
yeah, let's talk about the facial angles.
Right.
But I did want to, before we go into that, I did want to mention as well, is that if you go outside and take a picture, make sure that, you know, your model's not squinting, or it's, you know, in the middle of the day where the light is very hard and you're getting hard shadows.
Right. You want to find open shade. If you're finishing up a shoot and it's noon or it's 1 o'clock and, you know, the sun is right overhead, you want to find a spot outside, if you're having to shoot these outside, that has an open shaded area, you know, that it's not in direct harsh light.
Exactly. Because I see that sometimes that either or sometimes they're shooting against the light, so that's going to make the subject dark, and then the background is light. Now I know you can do that with a great camera and make some kind of cool things, but we're talking about just doing some clean before and afters. And you want that lighting to be pretty much the same on the before as on the after. Maybe a little better on the after, but, you know, don't put them in some kind of like overhead and they're looking terrible in the before to make that after look so much better.
Right. Just use the same location. Yeah.
It loses your credibility that way. You know, they're like, wow, she had to make her look so bad before, unless it was absolutely necessary because you were in one place or another. Sure. So I did want to share that with you. And then when she means cropping into the photo is you're taking the photo, and then you go in after with the photo and, you know, and you're cropping it. So you're cropping it where you're taking out all of that background, and then you can go in and crop it into the size that you want to get that detail. Right. But make sure when you're cropping it that you're not distorting the size of the photo. Because sometimes you see that, like the face will be fatter or it'll be longer, or, you know, so you don't want to distort all of that. And you also don't want to use a whole bunch of filters on your photo to make your work look like it's fabulous when in reality your work isn't that great. So it really, you know. To speak to that, it's definitely about lighting. You know, if you're having to throw on, you know, 4 different filters on your work to make it look better than what it is, and you probably just need to go back to making sure that you're getting really nice lighting on your subject or client. Or, you know, work on your blending. Right. Work on your foundation. Work on, you know, the maybe they don't have enough powder. So again, a photo, and by documenting every single client that you work on, that's your way of seeing your progress happen.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just for you too, as a photographer, like you know, we evolve as artists and we're constantly evolving. So, and the thing is that camera equipment evolves too.
It absolutely does, yeah.
So a lot of times we can see way more than we want to see. And I would say to that point, especially when you're taking a shot so close, is you know, you're distorting facial features.
Right. And you're essentially making them look bigger than what they actually are. If you want, the closer that you're getting.
Yes.
You know? So yeah, it can be a proportion thing that doesn't look quite right.
Yes. And that's I think it's more of a rookie mistake kind of thing when you, because obviously, you know, your nose is going to be closer to the camera than your eyes are because your nose protrudes. So then it's distorting and making that nose even bigger. So, you know, things like that. So it's just kind of those little photography tips that we wanted to talk about.
Right.
But now let's talk about, you know, the smile, the angle. How can we, because I'm still not very good with that. I'm not like super great. And, you know, and another thing I'm going to share with you guys too, because this is something that I see often, is that you know your one angle. And then for those of you that are selfie queens and you don't get out of that.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily, as a makeup artist. Now, if you're an influencer and you only want pictures of yourself, do whatever you want. But as a makeup artist, don't find a stagnant, you know, pose that is just multiplied over and over and over again. You know?
Sure. Right.
So you want to, so share with us some of these tips, you know, on how we want to, because I think like straight on is never that great.
Yeah, for some people it is though. You know, a lot of times when I'm shooting, especially with headshots or really with other different portrait work, is that, you know, some people do look good from straight on, but you always kind of have to help them fine tune the pose a little bit. So a lot of times what feels awkward actually looks good in photos. Practicing in front of a mirror, I would say, is super important if you have a shoot that's coming up. But if you are shooting head on, and this was something that we were talking about earlier, is, you know, your chin,
the turtle pose.
Yeah, so it's like this kind of, you know, you stick your neck out just slightly, which does, it helps to, you know, elongate the neck.
Yeah.
And it can be very flattering on people, but at the same time, it can feel awkward.
Yeah, it does. It feels a little weird.
Yeah.
But you love the results.
Right.
Yeah. And a little highlight contour and then the turtle pose. Yeah. Hello.
So, and then, you know, you can work from different angles too. You know, you can have your client stand from one side and then just having them work their torso a little closer to you, and then do the same thing. You can have them do that on the other side, you know, where they're just kind of like, you know, and then just, you know, working a little bit with head tilt, you know, can help to accentuate different aspects of like whatever it is that you're trying to really feature and show off with, you know, the work that you've created. So, and smiling, we were talking about smiling.
Yes, so smiling. So I do want to mention one thing. So if you are using your hands in a shot, and a lot of times, especially if you're doing like, you know, a jewelry ad, things like that, because there's a lot, you want to make sure that the hand is made up, or the hand looks the same as the face. The same if you're pulling back hair. You don't want the ears one color and the rest of the face another color. Yes. The same as the décolleté area. So these are tips that you see. Again, there's some amateur tips, but or amateur mistakes that I see, but it makes a huge difference. And it's just my film and TV background that we do those things. Sometimes you even do inside the ear area, because depending on how that shot's going to be. Right. And you see this a lot when you watch the news with news anchors. Yeah. Because they're, you know, doing this, and if they haven't made up their face, or they're bronzing their face a little bit more, and then their hands 3 shades lighter. Right. that just doesn't look good.
Right.
Or the same with the ears. You've got white ears and you've got this darker face. So
Yeah.
tips to really think about, because that takes your picture to the next level as a makeup artist.
Yes, paying attention to those different details.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So cool. Okay. So then we were talking about smiling.
Smiling, yes. So a lot of times, I think, a nice, beautiful smile looks great on everyone. But as being the photographer, and if you're the makeup artist that is photographing your work, is just having them maybe just do some slight variation. So maybe a nice big smile, but also something that's a little more demure, like I call like a Mona Lisa smile. And I feel like everybody knows what that is. It's a smile in the eyes, but it's also just a slight smile, in the mouth too. But a point that you had made earlier is like that awkward kind of somewhere in between, where you're showing maybe just a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're smiling, but it's just kind of a little
almost,
cheap.
it's just not quite there.
And you can't Photoshop that.
Right.
So your photo is ruined.
Right.
Now there's our client was doing that little, just kind of like smiling a little bit, and then it just looks weird in the photo.
Yeah.
So it kind of kills that photo.
Yeah. So you have to be you have to be the director in a way. It's like when you see the client doing something that doesn't quite look right, you have to speak up in a way that's still professional.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Keeping that professional.
Not shut your mouth.
Right. But just
soft
tell them.
Smile.
Yeah. A soft smile. You're just giving them some suggestions so that they realize, okay, change, because a lot of times it is awkward to get your photo taken. Yes. Even if you are just, taking pictures of someone on a cell phone, just being able to, be their guide is really important.
Yes, directing your subject is huge, and they're trusting you because you're the one looking, through the viewfinder. So we're the ones, because we're wanting to document our work. We're not talking about becoming a photographer 101.
Right.
It's really us documenting our work, and we're so proud of what we've done. We want to get that best picture. And the thing is that clients want to see these before and afters, because that shows
so important.
Yeah, they show like, wow, she really did a nice transformation. Or maybe, I've gotten a lot of clients because they know my work is more natural. They know I'm not going to go crazy heavy on them.
Right.
So it really starts to define your skill, and it starts to give you a lot more credibility, which is the purpose of this class, to help us. And and then there's things that you need to look at, because not everybody has a great smile.
Right.
So I've had some clients, and this is where, like you said, just kind of suggest to them. I had this one bride, she was so cute, but her smile was like, it was like her whole face would scrunch up, her nose would scrunch up, and she'd have these huge smiles, and she was so happy, and it was horrible. Yeah. It was so bad. And I thought she needed to learn how to smile, because even though it was the expression of her happiness,
yeah, I'm sure,
but it was just like the nose got all scrunched up, and the eyes, and it was just so funny. Yeah. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people will smile and they have a lot of gum. They have a big gum line, and they have maybe smaller teeth. So when you smile too much, you're going to see like all this gum, and that's not necessarily that attractive. So by helping your client, and I know do you kind of tell them, like, oh, a little half smile or a big smile?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just, just making suggestions so that you can just bring out the best in them, the best kind of like quality in them. So it's definitely all about making suggestions and angles, lighting, all of that.
So what angles should we do as makeup artists? Like, if our clients, should they stand up or should they sit down?
It depends on the person, for sure.
Okay.
I feel that I think standing for the most part is best for most everybody, because you're able to have a little bit of a freer expression. Sometimes when you sit down, you know, everything kind of just becomes smaller and, you know, you don't have, I don't know, like
you're not as elongated.
Yeah, you know, and like a lot of times with sitting, you know, you tend to see people, they'll start getting a little more scrunched over, you know, kind of thing. So I think standing for the most part would be your best choice.
Okay. I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you, but I was going to say, if you do, because a lot of times there are really cool chairs.
Yes.
Be careful with the chair. Because some chairs you kind of like sink into, and all of a sudden
you're like being swallowed by the chair.
Yes.
Right. I know what you mean.
And I've seen that. That's really weird. Or all of a sudden, you know, kind of like your stomach goes up, and then your shoulders kind of, you know. So it, and these are we have to look at like this little. Okay, so I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna have Kim guide me a little bit here. I'll just sit like in this chair. So now this one's swivel. So what would you say if you're right there?
So if I were photographing you, I would probably have you come a little closer to the edge of the chair so that your feet could be on the ground.
Okay. Right? Okay.
And then so you can move a little bit more, but you're still like this. Still, I feel like immediately kind of helped your posture.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure, because I'm not relying on the back support.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So. Okay. And then, of course, crossing your leg could be nice. I tend to say what people do naturally looks the best, but maybe with some minor tweaks, you know? So, like, you naturally cross your leg, put a hand in front of the other, which totally works, you know? And so, in this scenario, I would be shooting you. Let's see, I can just take a photo. And
so she's going to take a photo, and she'll show you the photo of what we're doing.
Yeah. So I tend to, you know, I do maybe just like a minor, like this is, you know, totally straight up and down. When was that 90? I don't know. Anyway, I'll just tilt it
90 degrees.
Yeah,
right?
90. Yeah, this is 90. Okay, yeah. So I just, you know,
we're photographers and makeup artists. Yeah. We didn't do too well in trigonometry.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting about, and let's see if you can see that. You know, I'm getting about doing about a 3/4 shot on her.
Look how cute I look in there. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah. So then what I would do if I was posting this, you could do one that was a little further away, which could be your initial shot. And then you could go in and.
Just going to show you how to crop this.
Yeah. So you could maybe crop. Let's see.
And looking, because cropping is huge. It really,
you know, so that's the same image, but just coming in almost more of like a headshot sort of angle. Mm-hmm. And let's just say that, you know, I would have her like take off your glasses, right? And I want to show off the eye work that I've done, right?
Okay.
So could I have you just like look down?
Sure.
Yeah, and what you did was perfect, like the way you just kind of angled your face, and then, you know, you want to pay attention to the hair, kind of a thing. So again, you know, I'm not getting like super close, but close enough that now I have like so much versatility in this image. So I have, within one shot, I have an image that's slightly pulled back like this, and then I could go in and, you know, maybe just get a little bit closer, just so you have something of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, and I don't know that everyone knows this, but like on your camera, I think you can see that when you tap different areas, you can control the focus, but also the white balance.
Oh.
So you see I'm dragging my finger all the way up, and see how bright that got, and then when I drag it down.
Now, is this an iPhone setting perhaps? Or?
You can also do this in Android. I think it might not be a tap for an Android, but what you can do is you can actually lock your white balance. So if you're taking multiple images and it's in the same lighting conditions, the camera in your phone is not going to read the light. You're going to tell it lock into this white balance so that you have
Nice.
consistency between those images.
That's great.
Yeah. So
That's great. What a great tip.
yeah.
I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah.
So thank you so much, Kim.
course,
This
yeah,
was
thanks for
such a
having me.
helpful class, and I
Yeah.
hope you guys, and of course, one thing I do want to mention, if you've got a good camera, don't use your phone, use your camera.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
So you can use kind of the same tips and you can practice with that, obviously, but these are great things to get you started, to start looking at your photos. Take more than less photos, because that's what always happens to me. I think I have like enough photos.
Yeah, just keep shooting. You can always delete. You can always
yeah
until you get super comfortable and you know that you got it. Why not just shoot a bunch?
Exactly.
Yeah, different angles, different sides. Trying slightly different levels, having them sit down, have them stand up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have that much time, but
no,
just
but
get the
make
shot.
it. You
Right.
need to make
You
the
have
time,
to make
because
the
this
time.
is your future.
Right.
And crap in, crap out.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah, and
you want to get to that next level and be your best.
And you have to just get into the habit of documenting yourself working.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Kim Jefcoat, check her out, Grace with Fire Photography. And we will see you on the next session. So good luck, snap away,
All
right?
Yeah.